Is Washington, D.C. in Virginia? Is it in Maryland? The answer is yes and no, and sort of. Here's the story. In 1790, Congress wanted a brand new capital that didn't belong to any state, so they borrowed land from both Maryland and Virginia to make a federal district. But in 1846, Virginia said no thanks and took its land back. That's why today, D.C. is technically carved out of Maryland, but it's not Maryland. It's the district. If you're confused, congratulations, you're already in the right mindset for Washington politics. And about the names, the city is named after George Washington himself. As for the district, Columbia was a poetic nickname for America back in the 1700s, basically the Lady Liberty of its day, with a flair for drama. For a place so small, just 68 square miles, D.C. has a lot of personality. It's home to the White House, the Capitol, the Smithsonian, and more marble statues than any city really needs. It's famous for cherry blossoms from Japan, legendary traffic jams, and congressional gridlock that sometimes lasts longer than the monuments themselves. The city's street grid was designed by Pierre L'Enfant, with diagonal avenues and traffic circles that conspiracy theorists swear are Masonic symbols. The Washington Monument is the tallest stone structure in the world, but fun fact, it's not perfectly centered on the mall. And the Capitol? Long rumored to sit on swampland, which, depending on who you ask, may still explain a few things.
The truth is out there, and it begins with you. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, where we talk high strangeness. Call us at 928-288-2942. That's 928-288-2942. Or join us by video. If you're at a computer, just look for the link in the chat. Buckle up, sit around our virtual campfire, and let's get started.
If you've ever walked the streets of Washington, D.C. after dark, you might notice something strange. The city feels like it has secrets. Secrets beyond those pesky files that 80% of the country wants to see. Ancient homes, long-gone mansions, and even the street grid itself are rumored to be hiding things. In tonight's Paranormal Highway, we're taking you on a tour through the haunted houses of D.C., the ones newspapers wrote about in the 1800s and 1900s. And then forward into the modern conspiracy theories people still whisper about today. Stick with us, because at the end, we're heading straight to the one haunted landmark you've all been waiting for, the White House. In 1895, the Evening Star's reporter Pauline Pry decided to spend the night in a supposedly haunted house. She brought alcohol, salt, a revolver, and a lantern, because, of course, that's how you deal with ghosts. What she found was footsteps that came closer and closer, but never arrived. Wrappings on walls, doors, even ceilings, until she bolted into the dawn swearing one night was quite sufficient to dispel her skepticism. That house? Long gone, but the story still haunts the archives. The Evening Star revisited D.C.'s hauntings in 1905 in an article simply titled, Washington Haunted Houses. Old-timers recalled local ghost stories. The Winters Mansion on New Jersey Avenue, where a spectral woman was said to appear in the windows. The Stone Place, feared for years, until someone discovered it was full of possums. Mystery solved. A Calorama house where shrieking winds sounded like tortured souls. Turns out it was just a tree branch scraping glass. And Barry's Woods, said to hide the ghost of a stolen child. All these places are gone now, replaced by government buildings and row houses. But imagine being the poor guy who had to explain that the neighborhood ghosts were just possums. The Sunday Star revisited the hauntings in 1943, this time with photos. The Van Ness Mansion, where ghostly figures were said to appear. Today, it's the Pan American Union Building. The Judge Holt House on C Street Southeast, allegedly full of spirits. It was replaced by the Cannon House office building, where the ghosts might still be whispering in the ears of representatives. That explains a lot. The Carroll Mansion near 1st and D Streets Northeast, demolished long ago. The still-standing Octagon House, where a Taylor daughter supposedly haunts the stairwell. And both the Sewall Belmont House and the Ringgold Carroll House, still standing and open to visitors. So next time you're in D.C., some of those ghosts might be closer than you think. But ghosts aren't the only whispers around Washington. Fast forward to today, and the legends have morphed into full-blown conspiracies. Some people swear the street plan hides occult symbols, like a pentagram formed by Logan, DuPont, and Scott circles, 3 distinct traffic circles and neighborhoods in Washington, D.C., each named after the central roundabout or public space and the notable figure or event it commemorates. Historians say it's just city design. Believers say, yeah, sure. Others claim Freemasons encoded their symbols into the city. Triangles linking the Capitol, the White House, and the monuments. The truth? The symbols are carved openly on buildings. No secret needed. And then there's Operation Monopoly, the real Cold War story where the FBI secretly dug a tunnel under the Soviet embassy. Details are sketchy, but that just makes the conspiracy louder. And finally, the bonus legends. Conspiracy theorists say the Smithsonian has hidden evidence of giant skeletons in its vaults. And just outside the city, at Governor's Bridge, drivers claim their cars stall while a phantom baby cries in the night. So whether it's footsteps that never arrive, possum-haunted mansions, or pentagrams hidden in the street grid, Washington, D.C. has always been a city of secrets. And this is just the beginning. Because our next stop on the paranormal highway is the one you've all been waiting for, the haunted White House. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, D.C. edition.
Hey, gang.
Hi. Got my coffee. Good to go.
So if y'all are not watching live, if you went to YouTube and you clicked on this video and you're hearing my voice right now, pause the video and go watch National Treasure and then
We have a movie endorsement.
oh my God.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, and all of those symbols that everyone's talking about, the pentagrams and the secret societies, they're all in that movie, and it's a pretty good work of fiction. Enjoy it.
It is. Well, for some reason, the Masonic Temple and Freemasonry, it always is like in the center of all of these conspiracy theories. That's going to have to be a show at some point.
I know.
But, you watch the documentaries on those people, and they were very intelligent. Even how they figured out how to make arches, to hold the building and keep it stable. It's actually very interesting. So I was shocked.
I want to meet the guy or the woman who designed Venice. That had to be on crack.
Who designed what?
Venice.
Oh.
We want a city where? In the middle of that day.
Right. Yeah.
I've done about 200,000 trees.
Well, me some canals.
Yes. I have to say, I was really shocked and kind of blown away by how much there was out there involving the White House. I thought, Lincoln's ghost. Yeah. Okay. And so we're in our PowerPoint tonight, only hitting just a little bit of it. We've got Day. I don't know if she wants it. Raise your hand, Day, if you want in.
She's on the computer in the other room.
Does she want in?
She's watching, and she'll log in and ask questions.
Oh, okay. Well, she's waving. Let's add her. There she is.
It's almost like you're in the next room.
Can you wait?
We can hear you. Your internet is almost as good as ours, eh?
Well,
hey,
so stupid.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, you just froze for a little tad.
You're a little kind of like Trump dancing.
Oh my
Kim.
God!
Hi, Kim.
Well, thanks to everybody who's joined us tonight. So, Al, there aren't a lot of hard words in this one, but some entertaining stories.
I'll make some up.
Okay. Well, here we go.
Ghosts to the White House with Paranormal Highway bonus stories. You got the bonus plan. More than a century of hauntings and history.
You know one of the bonus points, you guys. I gave you a prelude.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about early whisperings from 1891 with President Benjamin Harrison. In 1891, the Washington Post reported that for months, the White House staff swore the attic was haunted. Strange footsteps, sudden bangs, and a draft that could snuff out a lamp had everyone convinced a restless spirit was roaming above their heads. Even the president's family ordered that no one should go up there unless it's absolutely necessary. Finally, Mary Scott Harrison McKee, the daughter of President Benjamin Harrison, decided enough was enough. The servant was sent to investigate, armed with a lamp and plenty of knives. But the moment he opened the attic door, a rush of air blew out his light, and he bolted in terror, nearly paralyzed with fright. The next day, with more courage, or daylight, another search was made. The truth, not a ghost at all, but rats in the ceiling. Seems to be a lot of rats in the White House now. Their scurrying softened by a muslin dress swaying nearby. The banging door supplied the rest of the spooky soundtrack. So the infamous White House ghost was laid to rest, at least in 1891. Exposed at last as nothing more than rats and muslin.
You have to wonder, though, why the daughter, Mrs. McKee, did not go up there herself and look. Oh, let's send the servants.
Right.
Yeah.
I told you on the AI on this one, I wrestled with that, and it kept making a woman servant go up there, not a man. So anyway, they don't match. It's AI.
Gender
Yeah.
bias.
She's standing there with the rat staring, and what she's saying is, "Did you assume my gender?"
Teresa says rats are still there.
Yes,
Amen, sister.
They are. They are. They're full size rats.
Full size. Giant rats.
Lincoln's restless spirit, 1934. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. On April 2nd, 1934, the Times Herald noted that at a press conference, Mrs. Roosevelt shared a curious tale. Someone claimed to have seen the ghost of Abraham Lincoln in the Lincoln bedroom, sitting on the bed, calmly putting his boots on. She was quick to add, however, that she thought someone's imagination was working a little overtime. Mrs. Roosevelt admitted she had never seen a ghost herself, though talk of White House hauntings have been stirred up by a recent article from the late Ike Hoover, the longtime chief usher, who loved to recount staff ghost stories. Lincoln's ghost, though, was a fresh twist, and from the sound of her voice, Mrs. Roosevelt didn't seem very convinced that old Abe was really making late-night appearances.
Dave was having trouble getting in, but we'll post your comments, Dave, if you have some. So
yeah, that's pretty. If you have, hey, here's another good movie: Abraham Lincoln, Zombie Hunter.
Oh, please.
I haven't seen that.
No, man, that was a great little movie.
No, I don't think so.
That looks like something I would watch. I'd have to get some of your gummies, Elle, for that one. It probably enhances it.
It gives a little bit of fun, you know. How about 1948? Creaks, groans, and "Don't worry, Harry." This is from President Harry S. Truman. By the way, the S in S. Truman doesn't mean anything. It's just an initial. It's that way on his birth certificate. According to the Times Herald, on October 4th, 1948, architect Lorenzo Winslow declared he launched a ghost hunt in the White House. The second floor, where the president and his family lived, sagged and creaked so much at night that people swore spirits were roaming the halls. Winslow wasn't buying it. He vowed to chase the phantoms away with the hammer and nails, explaining that while floors might not give way, they were a fire trap all the same. Then he delivered the best line of all: "We don't want any president to be haunted." The plan meant the Trumans would have to pack up and move into Blair House, while the repairs dragged on for months. The Washington wags couldn't resist a punchline of their own, suggesting the voters might change Harry Truman's address permanently come November, long before the Carpenters ever did.
Nothing new under the sun, is there?
No, not at all.
We still don't want haunted presidents.
Right?
This newspaper, it was 3 full-page newspaper stories.
Yeah.
So some of these stories come from that, and it was very well written and very, very good. It was a good one. So that's a picture of the front page of this 3-page article.
That's cool. I could probably read that. The Great Roundup, 1954. In April of 1954, journalist Leslie Lieber published The Legend of Ghosts in the White House in the Evening Star. It was a lively roundup of stories told by presidents, first ladies, and staff, spanning creaking floorboards, ghostly knocks, and even Abraham Lincoln making appearances long after his death. The following are some of those stories, pulled from 3 pages of the newspaper. Truman's Ghostly Nights. Harry Truman himself once admitted the White House could be spooky. In his diary, he wrote, "I sit here in this old house, listening to the ghosts walk up and down the hallway, and even right here in the study." He joked that he imagined Andrew Jackson and Teddy Roosevelt arguing over Franklin Roosevelt. Truman even recalled being awakened by knocks at his bedroom door, only to find nobody's there.
Those are the biggies that seem to come out all the time, are Lincoln and Andrew Jackson. They seem to show up a lot in these stories.
Yeah. And you got the ghosts playing Ding Dong Ditch. Eleanor Roosevelt's glimpse of Lincoln. Eleanor Roosevelt also shared her own experiences. She sometimes felt Lincoln's presence, and one says she saw him peering over her shoulder as she sewed. Deborah's observation, this is our Deborah. She apparently changed her tune after the 1934 story where she scoffed at the idea of Lincoln hanging out in the White House. The Roosevelt family, she explained, all knew about the stories of Lincoln's ghost, but she eventually decided to shut the door on too much spiritualism.
Oh my.
Eleanor did not mess around. Cool. Haunted I can handle way better than the narcissistic billionaire.
There you go.
Yes, the hauntings almost bring back a time of innocence in a way to me. I mean, that's probably why this appeals to us, especially from these old newspapers. It's
You know what hauntings are? Times a sign of better times. You know the White House is in trouble.
yeah.
Abigail Adams, Dolly Madison, good ice cream, by the way. Other first ladies were also rumored to return in the afterlife. Staff claimed that Abigail Adams' ghost could be seen in the East Room at dawn, outstretched arms, as if still hanging her laundry. During the Wilson years, Dolly Madison was said to have risen from the grave to protest when her beloved rose bushes were disturbed. Witnesses swore she hovered sadly in the garden until the bushes were replanted, and then she fades away. Dolly, we need you back.
I was wondering, if they do, if any sensitives are, if this is true, if she's there and Jackie Kennedy are there,
Oh yeah.
because it's just been entirely paved over with concrete and
Yeah, what are you doing?
you'd never know. Or they might get mad. Who knows? They'll turn into poltergeists.
Ooh, the doorman bleeds. That's a great picture there. Dan.
Yeah, it is.
That's how I feel a lot lately. Howell Krim, chief usher, denied ever seeing ghosts, but longtime doorman John Meigs pointed reporters towards better stories. He recalled FDR's valet, or valet, depending on what country you live in, once running into a guard's arms, shouting he'd just seen Lincoln.
And that's him in the picture.
Yeah, right. That valet, known here as Mr. Camacho, served Franklin Roosevelt for 11 years. He believed the White House had eerie ways of predicting death. Paintings would fall from walls for no reason, he said, and someone in the household would die within a day. I'd be nailing the pictures to the wall. On one occasion, strange footsteps echoed through the Blue Room on the very night FDR's mother died.
So all the psychics and peoples that have been over the news the last couple of weeks, take note. Find out if any pictures have been falling off the walls.
No. Gosh, man. More from Mr. Camacho. Camacho also described a famous guest, likely Queen Wilhelmina of Holland, who fainted after a midnight knock at her door. When revived, she swore she had seen Abraham Lincoln standing before her. Another couple fled the White House entirely insisting a ghost had tried to set fire to their beds at night. One of the strangest tales came when Camacho heard a voice in the yellow room repeating, "I'm Mr. Burns. I'm Mr. Burns." I'm imagining that's how a bird sounds.
Yeah.
Later, he discovered that the land for the White House once belonged to a man named Burns.
That's kind of an interesting, odd little story I'd never heard
It
of
is a
before.
little tidbit that is
You want to hear
very
something funny? I
interesting.
played a prank on my sister. I was probably 15, maybe. And we had her bedroom was next to my bedroom, which I don't know why, because we had just this monstrous house. Her bedroom was next to my bedroom, and there was a crawl space behind, the wall there, storage and whatnot. So what I did is I took a little speaker about that big, and I went in the crawl space, and I crawled to her room, right, and through the vent. I managed to squeeze it through the vent right behind her headboard. And I ran it up the headboard inside to where she couldn't see it. And on the other end, I had an amp, a PA system, with the microphone and all that. And for weeks on end, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd get up to pee or something. And I'd get in there and I'd go, "My name is Nadine. Nadine, I'm watching you.
Oh, no.
Oh my God." And you know what? I don't think I told her about that until we were both well into our 50s.
You probably traumatized her for life.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm sure
That's
I did.
therapy worthy.
Do you remember when Jaws came out?
Uh-huh.
Like 75, 76? She was terrified. She was absolutely mortified by that movie. So, right, her room had 2 doors. A main door to go in, and the other side of the room was one of them little folding doors, right? So I had run a string from in between those doors, wrapped it around a little doorknob, went up in the air, wrapped around the curtain rod, and I had this giant shark, right, that I glued like pieces of lasagna and ketchup, and I pulled it. I had it aimed towards her main door, and as I pulled it back and held on to it, and I sat in that little hallway for about an hour until she came home. And as soon as she opened the door and flipped the light on, I let go of the string. And that shark just basically went right to her toes. So I terrorized that girl.
No.
Does she talk to you anymore?
Oh, yeah, we talk all the time. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know. I put
Let's
some
see, Dave had
like
a comment here.
disembodied voices. That really freaked her out. And I didn't tell her because she was really upset. So like I said, probably about 15 years ago. So Day writes in, so stuff falling off the wall or getting knocked off the wall by aging heavy chemical fans to not be embarrassed. Wait, what? We're getting knocked off by the wall.
Well, I think she's just coming up with a theory why the pictures would fall off
Oh, yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
from the one story. So, yeah, that could be. Still makes a good story, though.
How about some more from Mr. Camacho? Another staffer, Katura Brooks, swore she heard booming laughter late at night while working in the Rose Room. It came, she was told, from Andrew Jackson's old bed. She never wanted to go back. To disprove the White House is truly haunted, journalist Lieber left the answer to the reader after its massive renovation in 1950. Some believed the spirits had been driven away, but Camacho ended on a wry note. If ever invited to spend the night at the White House, he confessed, he'd keep the lights on. Ooh, look who's here.
There she is.
I was trying to defend myself and explain myself. And the headphones didn't work, the keyboard didn't work, StreamYard didn't work.
Oh, no. Well, it looked like he had a rough internet connection. Al did last week, too.
Yeah, I don't understand why. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well, I could have mine a foot away, and when the internet goes down, it just goes down. I mean,
There we go. We're readjusting here. I need to change the name, which I'm not going to do right now.
I don't care.
we know. It's Joy.
Oh, look,
Or
Lincoln's
day. I'm
presence.
sorry, it's day.
I'm sorry, you need to. And
No,
this
no,
is
go ahead.
why I don't want to do this. I talk and take too much time.
No. What were you going to say?
So to explain my comment, we were back. The delay was huge between what I heard and what I could say. So going back to the previous one we were reading and talking about, and you were talking about things falling off the walls and all this stuff, and that's what I was like, so wait, if you're wealthy and you live in all these crazy big places, you have servants that do things for you, like hide how much you fall down because you can't be seen falling down.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Like Roosevelt.
That's what I'm saying. Things happened as society became educated and more aware and put cameras everywhere. And so I'm not sure how much is valid or how medicated or drunk or stoned were you when you saw these things, because things were happening.
They still made for great stories, though. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
They
They're just
do,
good
they
stories.
absolutely do, but I believe there's so much history in that house, and so much of it is death and war and sadness, that's what it takes, that there's a presence there, and I'm not sure it's a positive one. And I think whoever leads it takes the whole property with it.
Yep.
And that's very
Could-
unfortunate.
Could very well be.
There, that's all I was trying to say. Go on.
Lincoln's presence. Lincoln again. Lincoln. This is 1957. President Dwight D. Eisenhower. In May 1957, a Washington Daily News reporter asked President Eisenhower's press secretary, James Haggerty, if he'd ever seen a ghost in the White House. Haggerty laughed it off first, but then admitted something intriguing. President Eisenhower had told him more than once that the presence he felt most strongly in the mansion was none other than Abraham Lincoln. Haggerty stressed Ike hadn't heard or seen Lincoln, but the sense of him was there. And as Haggerty put it, what's so strange about that? After all, what old house isn't considered respectable unless it has at least one ghost wandering? Right? The reporter quickly pointed out that Eisenhower wasn't the only one speculating that ghosts roamed the halls. Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands once claimed she saw Lincoln face to face. Eleanor Roosevelt admitted she felt his presence too. Mary Todd Lincoln insisted she heard Andrew Jackson swearing, Thomas Jefferson fiddling his violin, and, whisper it, John Tyler courting his very young bride. So maybe Eisenhower wasn't good company after all when he confessed that Lincoln still lingers in the White House.
Yeah, when you see President Tyler's wife in that story there, you'll know what they were talking about with the courting.
Oh. More ghostly bits. Lincoln's ghost is the most famous and cited by multiple presidents and first families long after his death. Grace Coolidge, wife of Calvin Coolidge, said she saw him gazing out a window in the Lincoln bedroom. Winston Churchill, a guest of FDR, reported seeing Lincoln by the fireplace. Eleanor Roosevelt's staff said they often felt his presence, and Harry Truman wrote letters about hearing phantom knocks and footsteps at night, saying the place was haunted as hell.
And Truman, they call them the Truman letters because he had a lot of stuff, and we'll get that the next time we swing back around to DC. And he's a very colorful writer, and this place is haunted as hell.
Right?
Pretty good. So we'll cover some of his stuff.
Sounds good. Theodore Roosevelt also mentioned ghostly phenomena, although less detail survives. Andrew Jackson's ghost is said to stomp and swear in the Rose Room. Mary Todd Lincoln believes she heard him there. Some claim to hear Thomas Jefferson's ghost playing the violin. William Henry Harrison died in the White House in 1841, and some say his spirits linger. First Lady Dolly Madison.
The picture is President Harrison, for those that might not know.
I did not. Thank you.
Dolly Madison's ghost supposedly guards the Rose Garden, especially when later gardeners tried to alter it. Comments, anyone? Barack Obama's staff once joked about the odd noises and unexplained creaking, although Obama himself downplayed it. George W. Bush's daughters, Jenna and Barbara, said they heard music and voices coming from fireplaces in their bedrooms. And Jimmy Carter's daughter, Amy, reportedly sensed ghostly activity as well.
So it goes all through the generations. Where I looked up if any of Trump's staff has complained of ghosts, and no, nothing.
Yeah. After the death of her son Willie in 1862, Mary Todd Lincoln held seances in the White House. She invited mediums, including the famous Nettie Colburn Menard, who claimed to channel advice for Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln himself is said to have quietly attended at least one seance, though more out of curiosity. And these are all from the White House Historical Association.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Did you see that movie? What was? I think it was just called Lincoln. It was kind of the documentary that had Sally Fields acting as Mary Todd Lincoln. I saw that in the actual theater instead of on TV, and it was amazing how they reconstructed what the White House looked like in those days and how little the rooms actually were, all the fireplaces. And I think they, if I remember right, they touched a little bit on these seances that she was having.
It was a good movie. Was it better than Abraham Lincoln's Zombie Hunter?
Yes, it was really good. It was excellent.
It was a good
Abraham Lincoln took his dreams seriously, and during his presidency, he often spoke about them as if they carried meaning for both his private life and the fate of the nation. After the death of his son Willie in 1862, he confided to a friend that he sometimes dreamed of visiting with the boy. These visitation dreams were bittersweet, comforting but sorrowful, helping Lincoln process grief while carrying the enormous burden of Civil War. In another dream, he worried about his youngest son, Tad. Lincoln wrote Mary a note after seeing Tad in danger in his sleep. Think you better put Tad's pistol away. I had an ugly dream about it. His dreams, whether of comfort, fear, or fear, shaped his actions in waking life. Perhaps the most haunting dream came just days before his assassination in April of 1865. Lincoln told family and aides of walking through the White House, hearing invisible mourners, and finding a coffin guarded by soldiers. When he asked who had died, the answer came, the president, killed by an assassin. His wife, Mary, later cried out his dream was prophetic. Lincoln also had dreams of victory. Excuse me. On the morning of his death, he told his cabinet he had again seen a ship sailing swiftly, a vision he believed always preceded major Union victories. Lincoln's mixture of prophetic warnings and hopeful omens shows how deeply he trusted his dream, not only to guide him through family tragedy, but also to lead the nation through its darkest trial.
Yeah, his are pretty famous, all the dreams. And I think he dealt a lot with depression. I mean, who wouldn't with all that kind of stuff going on?
Right?
And didn't they, I don't remember what was in the antidepressant drugs, but didn't they have mercury or something like really super toxic in these drugs that they were giving him, because they didn't know at the time, which could have been influencing this and making the depression even worse for him.
Could be.
But yeah, it's very famous, all of his dreams. And when we had the doppelganger show a while ago, before he had that dream about, the assassinated president, they also had reports in these historic, I think it was in the National Archives, where he looked in the mirror and then he saw like another image of him also in the mirror. So it was like he saw his doppelganger right after that. So he's got a very interesting. This lady is something else.
Oh, Julia Gardner Tyler. Let's talk about the White House's paranormal realm. Julia was the second wife of President John Tyler, who was far more than a first lady with a taste for horoscopes. She believed she had genuine psychic powers. Julia was just 22 when she met the widowed president after a tragic accident aboard the USS Princeton killed her father. Though she had first been introduced as a possible match for her son, Julia instead fell for the president himself, as one does. And the two eloped only months after his first wife's death. The press buzzed over the scandal, but that was only the beginning of Julia's unusual story. She claimed she could summon spirits, read the future, and even levitate objects. Julia hosted gatherings where mediums performed ghostly tricks, and her own sister wrote home in awe of her power. In 1862, Julia said she had a terrifying vision of her husband choking to death. At first, it seemed like nothing, but just 2 days later, President Tyler died exactly as she had dreamed. To many, Julia Gardner Tyler remains one of the most eccentric and most supernatural first ladies in American history.
Wow.
President Tyler choked to death, huh?
Yep. And he was the
Where-
one that was courting. They hear his ghost
Yeah.
courting her.
And where was
But
Julia?
Oh, okay.
Where was Julia when he choked?
and that picture of her I found
Yeah.
in this history collection.
Yeah.
And she was the first lady to be have a picture taken up, because she was sort of like a feminist of her time too.
Yeah.
Well, she's young, 22,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I bet somebody ought to do a movie about her, because I bet she's very, very interesting.
Her dress looks like ribbon candy. The White House's Paranormal Realm Part 2. Nancy Reagan. Yes. She didn't just peek at the horoscope in the back of the newspaper. She lived by it. After her husband survived the 1981 assassination attempt, she became convinced the stars could warn her of danger. So she hired Joan Quigley, a professional astrologer, who paid her thousands of dollars every month to be on call. Nancy rang her up 2 or 3 times a day, so often that President Reagan finally gave in and had a special private phone line installed, just for his wife to call her psychic. From scheduling press conferences to setting the date of his cancer surgery, nothing happened unless the heavens gave the green light. But wait, there's more. The story takes an even stranger turn. Quigley admitted later that she was influenced not by the stars, but by her own politics. After meeting Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev, she decided he was nothing like the evil empire image painted in the press. In her readings, she pushed the Reagans towards peace with the Soviets, advice coming more from her personal opinion than any cosmic message. When the press found out, critics wondered if the fate of the Cold War had been shaped by the zodiac. Spooky or absurd? You decide.
Yeah, and I remember that people were just
Oh, I know. They freaked out.
really up in arms about that.
Yeah. How about some more stories? We've barely made a dent in the paranormal goings on at the White House, so, hit that subscribe button and the like button so you know when we hit the DC Paranormal Highway again. Here's some more little tidbits. Eleanor Roosevelt hosted seances and spiritualist gatherings in the White House, and mediums were occasionally invited to provide comfort or guidance, though these were kept low profile. While recovering from a major stroke in 1919, Woodrow Wilson leaned heavily on his wife Edith and advisors. Some accounts suggest that occult healing and spiritual counseling were sought privately. Rumors circulated that clairvoyants were consulted about his health and political future. Teddy Roosevelt, dabbed in the spiritualist literature, he was fascinated by psychic phenomena, but never fully committed. After the death of their son Calvin Jr., spiritualism briefly attracted the grieving Coolidge family.
It seems like a lot of that happened around tragedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems to be when all of that seemed to find itself in the White House.
Yeah. Oh, and in case you were wondering, yes, Bigfoot is reported in the District of Columbia area. Washington, D.C. may be famous for monuments, right? Monument. Look at the picture.
Donald Trump hairline.
No, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. I can't top that. Show's over. Goodbye, everybody. Washington, D.C. may be famous for monuments, museums, and traffic, especially DuPont Circle, that makes you question your will to live. But lurking just outside the Beltway is something hairier than Congress. Bigfoot. According to Dr. Elizabeth Harper, tales of a 7-foot fur-covered neighbor have been stomping around at least since 1957, when a group of teenagers near the Patuxent, you threw one in there, the Patuxent River swore they saw a giant ape man. Instead of going viral on TikTok, they did the next best thing. They spread the word so fast that locals began to wonder if Sasquatch had swapped out his forest cabin for a townhouse in Georgetown. The sightings didn't stop, though. By the 1970s, Virginians were reporting ape-like beasts in their backyards, and by the 1990s, even suburban drivers were slamming on their brakes for Bigfoot road crossings. The legend had grown so persistent that the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, that BFRO, has logged a dozen encounters in the DC area, including one as recent as 2017 in the Shenandoah Mountains. Whether it's a hulking ape, a lost congressman avoiding votes, or just the world's hairiest tourist, Dr. Harper assures us that Bigfoot fever is alive and well in the capital. Frankly, compared to what usually lurks in Washington, it might be the most believable thing yet.
I had fun with that one.
That was good, Deborah.
I
was like, I couldn't believe he was in Washington, D.C.
And yes, of
Oops, it
course,
looks
in
like
case
the
you were
thing kind of.
wondering,
Sorry about that.
there are also UFO stories in the summer
Yay.
of 1952. What happened? What just got big? I like that.
I
In the summer
I
of
just made it
19
bigger because it.
Yes, you did. Thank you. Wow. In the summer of 1952, Washington, D.C. looked less like the capital of the free world and more like the set of a science fiction movie. For nearly 3 weeks, radar operators, pilots, and everyday citizens reported glowing saucers zipping across the skies. Newspapers quickly dubbed it the Washington Flap, or even the invasion of Washington. Jets were scrambled, the Pentagon scrambled even harder, and officials held the largest press conference of the era just to calm people down. Their explanation? A temperature inversion that fooled the radar. But many eyewitnesses weren't buying it, and the mystery of those lights never truly gone away. To deal with the flood of sightings, the Air Force rolled out Project Blue Book in 1952, following earlier efforts named Project Sign and Project Grudge. Their job was to investigate every UFO report, whether from a farmer in Iowa or a pilot over the Capitol. Most cases turn out to be weather balloons, aircraft, or stars, but not all of them. Thousands of reports are now stored in the National Archives, and while the official conclusion was that no evidence of alien spacecraft was ever found, the program only fueled public fascination. By the time the Blue Book shut down in 1970, UFOs had become a permanent part of America's imagination.
Yeah, that was a big deal. I don't know what paper this. I mean, this came from the National Archives, and I was skimming real fast, and I don't know, but we'll hit more of that stuff later because apparently there have been more sightings than that. But that was the fact that there were so many calls that launched Project Blue Book, I thought was kind of interesting, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's it for Washington, D.C., a city where the politicians aren't the only ones lurking in the shadows. Don't worry, though. We'll creep back into town when we reach the M's for even more strange stories. Until then, keep your ghost detectors handy and your tinfoil hats polished. This has been the Paranormal Highway, only on the Cosmic Fold.
So... I probably read like 50 or 60 newspaper articles for that one, but yeah, I was surprised at all the seances and things like that have gone on in the White House.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
And and as far as Lincoln's ghost, I'd heard of that, but not some of this other stuff. So we'll cover some more and throw some more in there as time goes on. What do you think, Bove? Any thoughts on that one?
Well, I think I'm going to go to a do-it-yourself website and get instructions on making me a fine little aluminum hat. And we'll start there and see where it takes me.
Next Saturday, let's all wear a tinfoil.
Exactly. I think, though, I was surprised there was not a greater variety of occupants in the White House. Lincoln is interesting. I don't care who the hell you are. Lincoln is very interesting character. And these other presidents, I just expected more, and maybe a little more recent, like up towards Kennedy and even more. So
I kind of thought there might be Kennedy in there too, but part of what I'm thinking is that it takes a few years before, like Eleanor Roosevelt, like for her, in the span of 20 years, she's saying, oh, this isn't real. It doesn't exist. Well, then
Yeah.
20 years later, when she's not in the White House anymore, then she feels free to talk about it.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I suspect that might be part of what's going on. It is that if indeed there are additional hauntings in there or activities, they're not going to say anything until years go by so that they're not ridiculed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When there's no threat.
Yeah.
You got to
Yep,
wait till that.
and Keith, you're right. She was very heavily into astrology.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you get to your point in life when your jar of fucks is just empty.
Yeah,
You're like, you know what? Let me tell you what I saw. Let me tell you what I saw when I was in the White House. What do you got to lose? You know?
exactly. So I suspect more of that will bubble up as time goes on, that we'll see more of it. And then, you know, when we get into the UFO stuff too, just as a culture, I could be reading this wrong, but we're more tech oriented now. So you don't, I mean, you get some ghost stories with ghost hunters and stuff like that, but people
Right.
seem to be more willing to say, I saw a UFO, because you've got like these apps and things like Enigma where you can upload the UFO image. And so you'll see in that same time frame when everyone saw drones, they just shot
Yeah.
way up in Washington, D.C. And for some reason, especially now that we've had congressional hearings and stuff like that, people don't feel quite as ashamed about talking
Yeah.
about
I
a
think
UFO as they do
Yeah.
as a
part of the
ghost.
stigma has been removed. You know, when you see elected officials and appointed officials and in the government, you know, building, holding hearings about UFOs. You know, they just changed the name to UAP, but it's still UFO.
Right. Right. So I think that that changes how all of this is. And then if somebody actually can prove that there is such a thing as these spirits, not beyond what we may feel, or I mean, usually if you see
Right.
a ghost, it's not when you're sitting there trying to record one.
Well,
Right.
And
Right.
you know what though, the technology, and I know we're what time is it? Yeah, we still got a couple of minutes. The technology now that's obviously ever evolving with image capturing is not limited to what the human eye can see, and more of my mom came to me at work and you know, I mean, I believe that. You know,
yeah,
you know, I mean, who am I to say that's not true?
Right.
You know, that's
Teresa, was that recently, or and how did you react? Did it startle you, or had you been sort of, was she on your mind? I'd be interested to know how
Yeah,
that
me
happened.
too.
yeah. I would welcome a visit. You know, my parents have been gone for quite a while now, and my grandparents, you know, are obviously have been gone for even longer. But I don't think that would startle me if my mom just popped up, you know, at the end of the bed and said, "Hey, son, how you doing?" Mom.
I would like to think that I'd
Yeah,
be
it
able to
was
go,
great.
oh, wow.
That's
Hi,
great.
Mom.
Yeah,
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 probably
yeah,
brought some peace and
yeah,
knowing she was okay, kind of thing.
something like that. Yeah, you know, I mean, there's
When
look,
I
you know,
have seen them, it's been in the dream state for me. And even a couple times where something was left after the dream, so I would know that the dream was real, sort of thing.
yeah,
You
a
know, but
visual.
something like that is not going to be captured on a camera. And,
No,
you know, people can choose to believe you or not.
and you know
Um,
what? It doesn't matter if they do or not. You
she
know, I
didn't
mean,
try to talk or try to touch her. Probably in the workplace would do that too. It's interesting she showed up at work. Was it a family business or just, that's very
Oh,
interesting.
good question.
I'd have reached out.
Yeah.
This is me, you know, but I'd have reached out. You know, take me with you. But you know, the advances that we are making, we can record things, like I said, that are not visible to the human eye, but we can record, and this, I know it sounds weird, I don't know the exact explanation, but apparently colors give off frequency,
Hmm.
and they could film that, they could record that. It's just amazing, So who knows? Maybe sometime, in the next time Godwin's law does that triple thing, we'll have the type of equipment that can detect if and what is out there.
Exactly. And Teresa said she didn't want her to leave, which is
Yeah.
I wonder,
Absolutely.
Teresa, let us know if you've had a second sighting or if that was the only one where she showed up. But, and another thing too, it's like before people, let's see what she says. I was doing sleep studies, a lot of
Electricity. Oh yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Wow.
Big old thing on your face with all the. It looked like alien, like the alien thing.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
tempted to try some stuff like that. So, but they
Yeah.
say before people die too. I mean, I've kind of seen this sitting with people. They start to see relatives and things like
Yeah.
that. And
They
talk
reach
about
out.
them.
They reach up.
Yeah, the veil between the worlds gets thinner, and they can see their
Exactly.
ancestors. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Exactly.
I wish I had saved it. It'll come up again. There's a lady on TikTok who is a hospice nurse. In home care for the last.
Oh, I've watched her. Yes,
Yeah, she's amazing. I mean, some
she
of the
really is.
things she says and the
She
stories she
she hadn't
tells.
seen again. There was a little
Yeah,
typo there.
if I can
Okay.
find the name, I'll go ahead and send it over. Yeah.
Yeah, nurse. I know who you're talking about. She's got blonde hair and
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
really
yeah,
nice
yeah.
and kind of yeah.
Now the guy in the
Um,
morgue is creepy. There's a guy who does autopsies. He's really creepy, but he answers questions.
right, right.
Questions come up here, and he answers the questions. But he's kind of creepy. I watch him too.
Takes a certain kind of person to be able to do that job, or like the
Oh
forensic.
yeah.
Although I used to just love Bones, I love that show so much. It was I really love that
Oh,
show.
well, and I'm not even a DeChannel fan. I like what's his name there? Oh my gosh, the other protagonist, the guy, Sealy Booth. He plays Sealy Booth. Bones.
I don't know who that is.
He's on the show,
Oh,
Bones Show.
oh,
He's
and
the
Bones.
cop.
Yes,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
the
yeah,
cop
yeah,
on the Bones
yeah,
Show.
yeah. I
I
like
like
him
that.
too.
That's a cool show. Was anyway. I love Nathan Fillion from Castle. Remember Castle? The show Castle. You guys haven't seen Castle?
I like the Jungle Book.
That was cool. The live action one. The live action one.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, you got to see. If you like the Jungle Book, they did a really good job. My grandkids just couldn't get enough of it. They've seen it like 50 times.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah. But yeah, there's a lot out there that we don't know. And I think, it's a little concerning sometimes that people are so adamant about, this, none of this is real. I mean, none of it. UFOs. I mean, pick anything on the cosmic world spectrum of topics that we've talked about.
And none of it's real.
Yeah, none of it's real. In spite of over the centuries, thousands and thousands and thousands of first-hand reports.
Exactly. And if we accepted the fact that these things occur, I mean, science is getting more open to some things, especially as they're looking at the nature of consciousness, I think is opening up a whole realm. And there might be a time down the road where we're all kind of like, well, yeah, you're going to see that. Okay, I was looking at it. So anyway, that wraps up our show tonight, unless anyone had any other comments. Denise is still, I chatted with her yesterday, and she's still in some tremendous pain.
Yeah.
But it's getting better. So I don't
I'll
think
be
we're
around
gonna.
next Wednesday if you need me.
Okay, we could do a show. What I'm thinking about actually is, if you want to, because it's more science-y kind of stuff. So maybe we should, because I've pulled a paper. We can do a show on Wednesday if you want to. And then the next Cosmic Fold is Paranormal Highway is Indiana, I think. So we're going back to the eyes next week. And oh man, I can't even remember what I was researching for a Wednesday show, but it'll be a good one. I've pulled some science papers and that we are living in a simulation.
Yes.
Because that,
The Matrix.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I was reading Hansen's paper on that, and he wrote it like back in the 1960s. He was positing this. And more people are, on the science end of things talking about that. And I think there might be a connection with that and AI and some of these other things that are going on, because I was listening to that. It starts with a Y, that professor, I can't remember his name. He was talking about how AI can potentially mess up this whole matrix that we're living in. I mean, it's like one of those time, mind warp kind of shows. So yeah, we could do that on.
If we are in a simulation, I need to know, because I got a lot of bug reports to file.
No kidding. Me too.
Well, as you guys know, I kind of think that there's some kind of like time something that's weird, because I've experienced glitches. So well, Teresa, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Keith, for joining us. Dave for joining us. Let's see, there were several other people in here.
There
I don't know
were.
where they are.
Um,
Yeah, there were a few. So I want to thank you guys. Keith, thanks for the idea, and we'll circle back to more DC stories when we get to the M's. So in the meantime, you guys have a really good weekend. Oh, El, how's your rental hunt going?
We went to see a place today, and it was too small. And we went to see another place today, which kind of hit all the buttons. But I'm looking on Monday to what do you call one of those active adult 62 plus retirement communities, because why not?
Exactly.
Get off my lawn.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's going. We still got, we got another month before, we have to really make a solid decision. So we're just looking around.
Oh, moving I hate moving. I want to just stay put for a while.
Yeah.
They and I have moved over the 34 years we've been together. We have moved over 40 times.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
To different country. Yeah. I'm done. I don't ever want to have to do that again, but I know I will, but still.
Yeah, for me, it's only been,
no.
I'd have to sit down and count, but I'm just going to estimate maybe 20 times. And it's like, I am so done with moving.
Well, I stopped counting at 35, and that was at least 6 or 7 addresses ago and a country ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just,
I've been in the same place for 31 years.
I'm jealous.
Wow. Well, good luck in finding the right place. And
yes.
It'll be fine.
Yes.
So, okay, so we will have a show on Wednesday, and I'll post everything. Thanks again for everyone for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yes.
And we'll see you Wednesday.
Bye, everyone.
Right. Peace out.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love hearing your stories, so tell your friends so they can join the party. For show notes and our forum of high strangeness, visit cosmicfold.com. Remember, Cosmic Fold airs live on Wednesday and Saturday nights, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to know when we're on air. Thanks again and have a great evening.